It is a great old theatre. And I think it's every pro's dearest wish, both here and all over the world, to appear at the London Palladium. I remember saying quite openly to my wife, and unknowingly to my friends, I'm going to be there one day, I'm going to be there. It was such an inspiration.
He topped the bill there when Cilla Black was just starting, and she supported him, Michael Bernie Winters, Jimmy Edwards. He topped the bill many, many times at the Palladium.
It is the theatre of the country, the one theatre that all the Americans feel that they must perform in. They haven't done their professional duty unless they've appeared at the Palladium.
It's magic, because you got a little lump in your throat, like I have now. And you think back to those very special nights when it was expected from you that you'd top the bill and you'd leave that audience roaring for you. And until it happened, you are working, you're giving your all. And especially with a long-running season, you know, it was desperately important. That night had to be something special, and you had to drum up in your arrangements and songs and material something different to the last time. Now, if it worked, it was magic, and it always worked. And I remember coming here a couple of years ago to do 2 shows on a Sunday night, just Frankie Vaughan, 2 concerts. And I couldn't start. The noise and the audience reaction was immense. And I'm floating back years. And the band kept hammering out my opening. I pulled myself together and let it go. It makes it so special, because the history of the place is all around you.
When he went out on stage, he just, you know, he was giving his life and soul. He didn't want to live beyond that performance. And that's why people fell in love with him.
Life is a cabaret, old Joe. Come on to the cabaret. Hey. Put down the knitting, a book and a broom. Time for a holiday. Life is a cabaret, old chum. Come on to the cabaret. Come on, taste the wine. Come hear the band. Blow that horn, start celebrating. Right into waiting tables, waiting.
He had one of those voices, I mean, some people described him as a crooner. He was never a crooner. Frankie Vaughan was a kind of sub-tenor. And when he could start in quite a gentle, low key, and then the song would usually open up and he'd let you have it. And he had a powerful voice. You know, from the stage he could really project at the back of the hall without a microphone if necessary. He was a real stage performer. If you've really not seen Frankie Vaughan live, I don't think you've really seen the real man.
Life is a cabaret, oh John. Come on to the cabaret. Come here, dance and move. Mr. Ladies, excuse me, foxtrot. You'll dance? Well, I'm asking. Life is a cabaret, old chum. Come on to the cabaret. On taste the wine. Come and hear the band. From that on, start celebrating. Right into waiting tables, waiting.
He had a very recognisable voice. And he had a great voice too, that stood up with all of the great crooners of the time. That was the most important thing. Secondly, he was a showman. He was brilliant on stage. He knew just how to, he wasn't a big man, but he was enormous on stage. You know, he took over the whole stage, which was fantastic.
So I let it fly away, yeah. Like in the cabaret, oh John, come on to the cabaret. Like in the cabaret, oh John, so come to the cabaret.
When he came off, different. And it took me about 20 years to realise that, be careful. He was still there. He was still up there. We had all the adoration and all the girls were screaming and the band had been playing and it was all going on and on. You can't talk about ordinary things for a while. You have to come down. And if ever we argued, which is never, it was always after a show. Because but it took me 20 years to realise. And then I didn't argue anymore.
It's my life. Making it happen. People paid to be entertained. Be taken out of the sometimes very humdrum life. Problems. Give them a good hour of entertainment. Make them forget themselves. That's what it's all about.
It was like Bill's with Cliff Richard and Billy Fury and people like that. Frank got the same reception. They loved him. They were young kids who would not normally have paid to go and see a Frankie Vaughan concert. But when he came out there, that feeling, that strength, that entertaining, he got everybody at it there, you know, everybody excited. They loved him.
I have listened to all the women screaming at Frankie, whether he was singing or not, because he just had that charisma. He did have the Hollywood looks, but as a performer, he just oozed that very sort of sexy, upfront image. He oozed warmth. He had a tremendous sense of humour because by the time I got to know him on stage, he knew exactly if he kicked a leg or moved his anything, that the place would just erupt. Do the women give you a hard time on occasion?
Very few occasions. I think. I think the most terrifying experience for me with ladies, and just ladies, was a prison show I was doing for the Daily Mirror some years ago. I did a number of these prison shows, both male and female, and this was a new experience, just female. I mean, every song I sang, you know, seemed to have the wrong sort of connotation. Like, there must be a way, you know. Would you like to take a walk? And the whole place stood up, you know. I mean, and then again, I mean, whatever I did seemed like I was doing a strip act. It was quite strange. Quite strange.
The ladies really fell for Frankie because he had the appearance, he was very good looking, and he had a lovely calm atmosphere about him when he worked. Yes, he certainly was the ladies' favourite in those days.
I go on, I say, I'm the sex symbol. And because this is on the stage, he'd go, really, sweet lips? I said, yeah. I said, you're a sex object. He said, what do you mean? I said, you want sex, but they object. Well, he'd just roar with laughter, you know. But he was a sex symbol, very much so.
they did all idolise him, and he used to have women throwing themselves at him. But then again, I think what a compliment to me that my husband is desirable.